The gravel crunched under my tires as I pulled up to my great-uncle's old cabin, a place that hadn't seen a soul since he passed 5 years ago. I'm Lucas Carter, a land surveyor by trade, and this wasn't just some weekend getaway. It was my bloodline, 8.6 acres of forested shoreline, a weather dock, and believe it or not, the entire lake bed beneath it. My great-uncle, a surveyor himself back in the 60s, had snagged this gem through a mix of cunning bids and bureaucratic oversights. Most folks inherit cash or keepsakes. I got a deed to a lake, not access to a whole damn thing. The cabin was a tired old thing, green paint peeling, roof trim rusted, but it had heart. I'd taken the summer off to fix it up, hauling in tools, solar panels, and a crate of old records. The first week was pure magic. I patched walls, rewired circuits, got the rainwater system humming. Mornings were coffee and lake mist. Nights were bourbon and the hum of crickets. I'd paddle out in the canoe, the silence so thick it felt sacred. This was my sanctuary. Then the intruders showed up. It started with a sleek SUV creeping down my driveway, followed by minivans spilling out kids, coolers, and folding chairs. They strutted across my lawn like it was a public park, setting up on my dock as if they'd booked it for a barbecue. One guy even waved, dragging a kayak over my grass. I kept my cool, ordered some sharp aluminum signs, saw private property, no trespassing saw, and bolted them along the shore. Clear, polite, with my number for questions. But the crowds kept coming. Families with paddleboards, boom boxes, even a woman pitching a tent 10 feet from my porch. I didn't yell. I documented. Photos, license plates, timestamps. Push came to shove. I knew paper trails beat tantrums. Then the letter arrived, taped to my door after a supply run. No envelope, just a red stamp. Saw Pinewood Homeowners Association saw. Signed by Deborah Miles, president. It smelled like bureaucracy and bad news. It called my cabin an unauthorized structure on community lakefront and gave me 30 days to clear out. I'm no stranger to property disputes. Me job is arguing boundary Linesso. I knew they weren't mistaken. They were unhinged. I fired back a certified letter with scans of my great-uncle's deed, the lake bed title, and boundary records, copying the county for good measure. Polite but firm. Their next letter was nastier, accusing me of forging documents and obstructing public access. They demanded I remove my signs. I didn't reply. I added 2 more signs and a laminated parcel map by the dock. Things escalated fast. One morning, I caught 2 guys in khakis and polos HOA enforcers. I guess snapping photos of my trash bins and measuring my porch like they were staging a foreclosure. I asked if they needed directions to the road. One, a smug kid with oversized sunglasses, called himself a compliance liaison. I pulled a tape measure from my belt and offered to measure my boot for their report. They scurried off, muttering about protocol. That night, I rigged motion-activated spotlights and trail cams. I was done playing nice. Then a friend sent me a screenshot from the Pinewood Community Forum, a photo of my cabin with the caption, "Saw illegal shack on our public shoreline. HOA action pending." Saw it wasn't ignorancy, it was entitlement, the kind that thinks a newsletter and a committee can rewrite reality. I dug into my great-uncle's fireproof chest, pulling deeds, surveys, even a 1953 permit for the dock. The kicker? A land use record showing the HOA's community parking lot was on my property. I wasn't mad anymore. I was ready. The HOA meeting was a circus in a church gym, folding tables dressed up like a courtroom. Deborah worked the crowd like a politician, her blonde bob bouncing as she ranted about community assets and unlawful structures. She pointed to a blurry photo of my cabin, calling me a squatter. I stood, calm as death, and laid out my documents like aces in a poker game. "I'm Lucas Carter," I said. "I own the cabin, the dock, the lake bed, and that parking lot you've been PAVYing. Check with the county." The room went silent. Deborah's smile cracked, but she doubled down, claiming my papers could be fake and muttering about de facto claims. I shot back. "You're confusing entitlement with ownership." A few chuckles broke the tension, but her glare could have melted steel. 3 days later, I came back from town to find my dock turned into a frat party. SUVs parked on my grass, a cooler leaking beer, classic rock blaring. A kid cannonballed off my dock while his girlfriend filmed. I asked a woman in a beach chair whose land she thought this was. Community space, she said, citing Deborah. I smiled, snapped photos of every face and car, and said, just collecting EVY denke for trespassing. They cleared out fast, Leah VYing tire tracks and trash. I added more cams, locked the trailhead gate, and braced for payback. It came quick. Deborah rolled up with 2 clipboard-toting lackeys, demanding I dismantle my dock for encroaching on community shoreline. I showed them my parcel map, the black line hugging my dock and their precious parking lot. You're done, I told her goon trying to sneak behind my cabin. She waved a folder like a weapon, promising legal action. You're making a mistake, she hissed. No, I said, you are, and you're making it loud. The lawsuit hit like a brick, hand-delivered by a nervous courier. The HOA claimed I was illegally occupying community lakefront and degrading shared resources. I called my lawyer, Rachel Vaughn, a land-use shark who wore boots to court and smiled like trouble. She drove out, re-VYEU'd the suit, and laughed. This is a joke, but we'll make it expensive. We filed a countersuit, trespassing, unauthorized use, even emotional distress because trying to steal land your family bled for hurts. We blocked their parking lot with concrete barriers, added signs, saw trespassers will be prosecuted saw. Deborah showed up, screaming about community access. I didn't budge. She called the sheriff. Deputy Torres, a guy I knew from town, checked my records and told her to leave. He's good, he said, shrugging. Get ready, she's not done. Rachel dug deeper, unearthing HOA budgets and newsletters. They've been charging lake access fees for years, pocketing cash from my land. A 2015 aerial showed they'd paved my lot, even built a kiosk for donations. Their Summer Splash flyer featured Saw My Saw dock, wristbands $5 a pop. Rachel grinned. This isn't just trespassing, it's fraud. We sent the IRS a tip. No threats, just facts. Then it got ugly. Someone cut my gate chain, trashed my dock, and stomped a trail cam. 2 nights later, my phone buzzed at midnight motion alert. The feed showed 2 hooded figures lugging something heavy. Then a glow. Fire. They torched a storage bin full of gear, flames licking high. I doused it with a water drum, heart pounding. The sheriff came, re-VYEU'd my footage, and spotted a partial plate. We'll run it, Torres said, pissed. I didn't sleep, checking every lock, every cam. Rachel filed the arson as EVY denke, updating the IRS for good measure. The courtroom was a drab box, buzzing fluorescents, and a ticking clock. Deborah sat with her slick lawyer, tense but defiant. Rachel let him spin his tale of community use before dismantling it. This isn't about habits, she said. It's about title. She laid out my deeds, surveys, and a damning HOA flyer advertising paid events on my dock. The judge shut down their injunction to unblock the dock. Deborah cornered me in the hall, hissing, "You're ruining everything." I met her glare. "You came for my land. I'm just drawing the line." The second hearing was bloodier. Rachel dropped an IRS report confirming the HOA's undeclared revenue. A former treasurer testified, voice shaking, that Deborah hid the income. Their witnesses floundered, offering hearsay, no proof. The judge ruled for me, affirming my ownership and finding the HOA due lot $220,000 for damages and frivolous claims. She forwarded the case for criminal re-VYEW. Deborah sat frozen, her empire crumbling. Rain fell the day their signs came down, washing away their flimsy community access boards. I forged a new sign. Saw yes, I own the lake. Try me. Saw Deborah vanished. Her house sold overnight. The HOA stalled, crippled by court-ordered oversight. A magazine ran my story. Saw when the HOA came for the lake and the lake fought back. Saw I tacked it next to my great-uncle's deed. Some cars still slow by, drivers gawking, but no one steps foot on my land. Not anymore. Now, tell me what would you do if someone tried to steal your legacy? Should HOAs have the power to claim land they don't own? Or is this just entitlement run wild? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're Team Lucas, and subscribe for more stories where the underdog bites back.